Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Splatcast. Once again, it's me, Rhett, and we have with us Jace, as always, and Anthony.
Yo.
Couple of weeks since the last episode, guys, but it's good to be back. So this week we're going to start talking about All-Star, NBA All-Star. We're approaching that the halfway point of the season, so it's almost All-Star time. So we're going to make some predictions. Who we think is going to make it out of the East and West. But I think before we do that, maybe wanted to just kind of catch up on the week in the association. So busy week. There were some interesting matchups throughout the week. And I think you maybe had a couple of things you wanted to briefly touch on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of looking at the scores on my ESPN app to see like what kind of happened throughout the week. I don't know if y'all caught on Monday. The Rockets-Grizzlies game was really good. Rockets edged out the Grizzlies by 2 at home. Mm-hmm. Those two are in a heated battle. Rockets won the season series.
Did they? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, if it does come down to those two teams at number 2 in the West. We'll get to number 1 in a second.
Yeah.
But and then what else happened? Jimmy Butler's back.
Yeah, that's kind of been interesting. I think we talked about him a little bit on last week's episode. But
yeah, I don't know how that's going to pan out. I mean, his first
they have to trade him, right?
They put him in the starting lineup, and then they got blown out at home with the new Vice jerseys and everything. I guess the old Vice jerseys.
I don't even know.
Like,
go ahead, Ant.
I just don't understand like the uniform. Like, obviously, those are sick. Like, they should have those around.
Yeah, they're cool.
But, like, are there certain teams? Because I feel like the Heat and the Warriors and the Lakers, like, they always have, like, way more combinations than everyone else. So is that just if you have a cool...
I don't think so. I think they have the same amount. It's just, like, their designs are better.
No, but, like, the City Edition, like, came out and everyone unveiled those. Like, the Heat have a different City Edition. But then they brought in another one.
Am I tripping, Jace? I don't think they have more variations than any other team.
All that I know is that the Heat, like, did away with the Heat culture stuff that they had this year.
That was so lame. Yeah, that was
but like that was their City Edition.
That was like their city, yeah. I think they replaced that with the Vice that you're talking about, right? Well, I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
Pay attention to the Heat, to be honest. I don't really care.
Yeah, I don't really care either. The Warriors, it might just be like all the different combinations. They've been wearing that one, like those white ones that say Warriors in the big letters.
Mm-hmm. Oh, kind of like old school type vibe?
Old school.
Sort of? Yeah.
And then they used to have a Chinese one.
Yeah,
but maybe I'm just thinking of old season.
Doing the Chinese stuff. Which is weird. Like, why did they stop doing the Chinese stuff? Because I remember the Rockets used to have one.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
Anyway, moving forward, Thursday, 2 good games back-to-back on TNT. Thunder Cavs and then Kings Rockets. Did y'all catch those?
Yeah.
I was at the Thunder Cavs game.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. Yeah, I remember like thinking all like the whole day, like because I think we heard Hartenstein was going to be out like the day before or something, like
I think so.
Pretty close, like before the game. Yeah. So when I heard that, I was like, oh man, like we're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, they got us in Cleveland. It was a good game and everything, and I was like, I just don't think we have that great of a chance, you know, with those two big guys and no big guy of our own really. But man alive, we came out and smacked them around.
We did.
I cannot believe we beat them like that.
It was like what ended up being like a 20-point game.
It was like
roughly.
22 or something like that. Yeah.
And yeah, like it was closer in feel to like a 40-point game. You know,
we were up
until
on upwards of 30, right?
It was 42.
Yeah. Oh, we got up by over 40.
We only won by 20. It's that fourth quarter. We waved the victory flag.
That Flagler came in and started chucking it.
That was insane.
That was so awesome. Yeah, that was so funny.
Why did he do? Okay, like was he?
I don't know. They must have told him to just let it rip.
Jace, you remember his stat line? 0 for 8.
He was 0 of 8 from 3 and 0 of 9 from the field, I think.
In 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember
I
that.
just remember one possession was like he shot it 3 times.
Yeah.
Miss.
No, everyone up in my section was like, yeah, like keep shooting.
Yeah.
And I was up there
who
like,
cares?
don't.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. I liked it. Because, like, the game is over, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, just, who cares?
Try to get him a
They
bucket.
should put Jang in there and let him do that. Is he hurt or something? I, forgot that he was, on the team.
He's like, as of late, he's been, kind of spot minutes here and there. But yeah, I think his time is kind of dwindling.
Yeah. I was not really, I wouldn't say a believer, but I was pulling for him. I wanted him to be a contributor, but yeah, not going to happen.
Yeah.
Wish him well, but not going to happen here, which is fine.
Also with him, he's a quiet guy from what I've heard, in the locker room. So if you're quiet, you don't add much to the locker room, you don't add much on the court. It's hard to give you a reason to be on this roster. That's going to be so hard to make the team in the next few years.
You know what's kind of just interesting tidbit since we're talking about Jang too is I remember during the draft there was one other team that was really, really interested in him and really wanted to take him. Do y'all remember who it was?
Was it
the Knicks?
I was thinking it was Golden State.
Well, yeah, I heard Cleveland was really wanting him. And it's just kind of interesting that now, at this point, obviously those are the 2 best teams in the NBA. And they both wanted him at the same time,
He must be good.
Random. Yeah. I don't know. I think he can still do stuff, and I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about Ousmane Jang, But
Yeah.
Just don't think it's going to work.
No, I don't think this will be his last team because we've seen with other Thunder players that can't make it. Look at the Hornets. They were thrilled to get Trey Man, Bertans.
Well, dude,
Poku.
Ty Jerome. In that first game against the Cavs, he came in and went insane. I mean, he's had a really good season.
Second game too.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
This is by far his best season, he's playing super well in Cleveland.
Great. Yeah, he's had an awesome year. Awesome year.
He's outscoring Donovan Mitchell when he plays the Thunder. Maybe it has
true.
to do with going up against his old team, but
maybe, yeah. I was that first game, because obviously I didn't think about it that much in the second one because we won the game, of course. But in that first game, I was so annoyed. I was are you serious? Of course. Of course it's Ty Jerome comes in and
Revenge
I think he
game.
scored 16 or something. And,
Yeah.
Was hitting really difficult shots and just ugh. I mean, I like him and everything, but when it's against your team, it sucks. Funny.
yeah, the Cavs are good at home. I don't know. I'm trying to see how many they've lost at home. They've
It's
only
not
lost
very.
twice.
I think it's 2. Yeah.
Yeah, because the game they lost earlier in the week to the Pacers before they played OKC was in Indiana. Kind of a tough place to play too. But yeah, the difference of their offense, or I don't know, it's tough. What do you guys think? Do you think Cleveland's offense, who scored 130 plus on OKC in round 1, was really good because they were at home, or was the Thunder's defense really, really good in round 2 because we were at home?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the way really I think the series would probably go if we played them, in a playoff series, very back and forth. And it's kind of opposites of style in a way, because man, when we played them that first, I think I was telling y'all, texting y'all, being Cleveland is unbelievable. They are so good on offense. I mean, they're going to be really difficult for anybody to. They made us look pretty average in that first game.
I mean, we played good. I mean, not the defense. It was really close. 30 lead changes in that game.
Yeah, no, it was a great game and everything. I think we answered the bell.
They had 2 big guys that scored. I think they both had 20, Mobley and Allen. And we were well, when we get Chet back, it's okay. Yeah. But then round 2, we didn't have Hartenstein or Chet, and those big guys didn't do anything. So
Yeah. I'm honestly kind of inclined to believe, like, we had some guys that played really well. Like, obviously Shea did his thing, and some of the other fringe guys like really stepped up in that second game and really answered the bell, But I'm kind of inclined to believe that second game they just weren't really ready to go. Cleveland, and we kind of came out and punched them in the mouth. And by the time they woke up, it was already too late. We're capable of doing that. Jumping on teams like that.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Cleveland is really good, and they're going to be really hard to beat. And if we did have to play them, I think it'd be a long series and a difficult series for both teams.
Yeah. But keeping the topic on the Thunder for just another second, Thunder beat the Celtics and the Cavs when they're at full strength, pretty much.
And the Knicks.
And throwing the Knicks. We haven't talked, I guess, since that tough stretch.
Thunder beat
the
last
Knicks
time we
twice,
were on, it was just
Wolves,
we were just about to start it.
Grizzlies. So,
and I mean, we beat a lot of those teams convincingly. I was forgetting about the Grizzlies game, and they had some injuries. I know Ja for sure was
out.
Yeah, but I mean, we smacked them around too.
Yep.
Yeah, Thunder are capable. They'll beat you bad. They'll embarrass you if you're not ready to go. They will beat you really badly. But another thing from this week that I'm sure you don't want to talk about, Anthony, the Mavericks beat us. No Shea.
Night. Yeah.
Just an interesting little fact, though. They're the only team this season that's beat us twice so far. It's the Mavericks.
I kind of saw it coming.
Didn't play in either one of those games, by the way.
Kind of saw it coming.
Yeah,
but we didn't have our centers in either of those games.
Well, Shea was out. I mean,
yeah.
If you look at the numbers, it's not surprising that we're a totally different team when he's out.
Yeah,
he is the engine.
I will say this about the Mavs though, even without Shea, because being honest, I don't think that there's anybody or any defensive scheme that's good enough and set up well enough to consistently stop him. But I kind of feel like the Mavericks roster is as close as you can get to that type of thing. Just the size of their wings, super long, super mobile. And so that's kind of, if they do meet up in the playoffs again this year, that's going to be another tough matchup for the Thunder.
I completely agree, Jace. I don't think that obviously the records would show that the Mavericks aren't that really great, but they do match up great with us. And I living in Dallas, I get a lot of Mavericks fan stuff on my Twitter and everything, some of the writers and the Mavs writers and reporters and whatnot there's inklings that they may be trying to trade for Herb Jones.
Wouldn't love that as a Thunder fan, but
no, me neither. They'd have to give Gafford, I think, if they want to do it just financially. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But that would be a pretty good get, I think. I have heard they're looking for a defensive wing. But yeah, Jace, I agree. They're really in pretty good shape to deal with us as is.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're full strength, they can be good. It's just they're not right now, and they so they haven't been that good, but they certainly can be.
Sure.
And they will be difficult for us. I agree. Cool. All right. Well, anything else from the past week and a half or so, Ant, before we get to All-Star?
Yeah, I was just running through. I think underrated game was the Kings and Rockets. Just to touch on the Kings, because they did fire Mike Brown, which is a shock. I didn't think it would do anything. And now they've won 8 of the last 10. They haven't moved up a ton in the standings. Right now they're in 9th. But in the West, that's 4 games away from a top 4 seed.
Yeah, so, from getting out of the play-in. Right, yeah.
They're moving on up. And the Rockets, as a Thunder fan, I like when the Rockets or Grizzlies lose because that widens the gap, gives the Thunder – I think the Thunder's being more conscious. Here's the way I see things. I don't know if this is true, but I think Chet's coming back after the All-Star break, and I think they want to see the team fully healthy with Chet for those 28 games after the break. And so, not that they're load managing, but like I saw J-Dub was on the injury report, or I got some notification.
He's questionable, I think, for tonight.
Because like we don't need they're playing the Nets tonight. If Shea wants to sit out, I'd kind of be okay with it. Or if J-Dub wants to take the night off. Like the Thunder, I think if they know they can win, they're going to take things lightly till the All-Star break. Everyone gets a break. Then you hit it hard after the break, full team healthy. You get momentum into the playoffs, and maybe that's what they want to do.
I totally agree with you, Ant. I think the primary goal right now is get fully healthy and try to get as gelled as you can be before the playoffs. Even if that means you drop a couple of games or whatever, like that, I am certainly with you. Like that should be the primary goal. Because I mean, ideally, obviously, you want to win every game, but like I think it's going to be really hard for us to have a better record than the Cavs, just because they have the advantage of playing against Eastern Conference teams more than we do. You know, so I mean, you want to have as much of the playoffs played on your home court as you can. But yeah, I certainly think for us, like being healthy and gelled when stuff really matters is like the primary goal. And I'm always of the opinion in the regular season, if especially guys like Dub and Shea, like very, very important players, if they're not fully healthy, don't mess around with it. Just if you're not ready to go, just don't go, and it'll be fine. Especially, no offense, if you're playing in Brooklyn, you know.
I think also, I think that means no trades for the Thunder. Like they like the team they have.
Yeah.
They're all trying to gel.
I'm with you.
Just we've seen them at their peak, which is up 40 on the Cavs or up 40 on the Knicks. It'll be interesting. I mean, really, like the real big test I want to see is against the Grizzlies at full strength.
Yeah, I agree.
In Boston, like those games are yet to come, but. Besides that, like the Thunder we got one of the top 5 easiest schedules remaining. They're going to start. Yeah, I think switching that mindset to the playoffs that are around the corner.
They've passed some pretty difficult tests to this point in the season, just schedule wise, and obviously like playing good teams, in close proximity and everything like that. I did want to mention Houston because I still think Houston's pretty good, and like
they're getting better.
I'm a little bit concerned about them. Yeah, like they're getting a little. They seem to be. Yeah, like Udoka's really smart, and he's just figuring things out a little bit more each week. It feels like so. I think they're a team that certainly on my radar. Like I will be watching out for them.
It reminds me of when we played the Mavs. Like for them, it seems like not that it's like their Super Bowl, but that it means a little bit more. It means more to Dylan Brooks.
They want to beat us.
Şengün wants to be better than Chet. Like they got that chip because we beat them in Vegas. So they'll be waiting for us next time we play them.
They're good.
Yeah,
they're good. They're for real.
They're untested in the playoffs, which is a real thing because that's the Thunder last year. I think that hurt them. Last thing I'll say about the East is the Celtics lost not once but twice. Once to the Raptors, and then last night in overtime against Trae Young and the Hawks.
That's the second time the Hawks have beat them in Boston. Did y'all realize that?
No, not this year.
The Hawks have beat them twice in Boston. Yeah, this year.
What we're getting to, look, 9 or 8 out of Boston's 13 losses have been at home. And I think they only lost like a couple.
That's crazy.
Last year.
Yeah. No, I don't think – I'm almost certain they didn't lose more than 5 at home last season.
It's not like the level of concern is high because I think they're going to finish above the Knicks. So they might be
they'll find a way
content with that 2 seed. But we talked earlier when the Cavs and Celtics had that first matchup of like, man, this is going to be a good battle for number 1 because home court matters. Mm-hmm. Now it looks like it's pretty set.
I don't think the Celtics are going to catch. Yeah, I agree. At this point, I'm ready to say that. And right now, I just think the Cavs are like kind of like quite a lot better than the Celtics are right now, which is crazy to say. But I think they're a better team right now, quite a lot better. But, I also think that some hangover was kind of expected for Boston. I do think, like, when push comes to shove, they're going to be really tough to deal with in the playoffs. They're kind of put together for playoffs like that, Missoula has kind of proven himself. I wasn't a big fan in his first playoff run, but last year, I don't know. I think he did, like, good. Like, their roster was so much better than everybody else's. But, like, I think he did good. That's kind of all he needs to do.
Yeah, they were on a mission last year, all season long. They're like championship or bust. And now it just seems like they're just running it back.
Yeah.
And
they're like, like you said, Ant, I think they're like, well, we're going to be a high seed and, we're going to have a lot of home court. We may not have it all the way, but may not need it all the way. They know what to do. They've been there. They know what to do. So yeah. I still think they're very much a central player in the real meaningful race.
Yeah, so that's Cavs, Celtics, Knicks, Bucks, top 4 in the East right now, followed by Pacers, Hawks, Magic, and Pistons. Pistons in the top 8. In the West, Thunder, Rockets, Grizzlies, Nuggets. Nuggets looking good with Russ.
Russ has been playing awesome. Yeah.
Yes, and then Clippers with Kawhi, Lakers, Mavs, Wolves. The West is tough.
Where are the Suns?
you gotta accept cookies to find the Suns. It's the Kings at 9th, Warriors 10th, and then the Suns are holding off the Spurs for 11th right now.
Oh, man. We were kind of high on them. I remember all the big brains like, oh, man, that guy from The Ringer that's like a big Grizzlies fan. I'm forgetting his name. Y'all know who I'm talking about, I think. He was like, I think the Suns could maybe win the West. I was like, you out of your mind? I thought they'd be a lot better than this, but they're not going to win this conference.
Well,
no way.
Before the season, one of my hot takes was Devin Booker's sleeper MVP candidate. And
yeah. Well, I remember your logic behind that too, Jace. And that was like, you kind of think they're going to be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And like for that to happen, Booker would have to go nuclear, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's an overrated player. KD is too at this point in his career.
I'll tell you what, they may be overrated, but in the fourth quarter, like there are not many duos that I would rather have than those two. Like late in
I'd
games.
take my duo that I have over those two.
With J-Dub?
Yeah. Dub and Shea. I'd take Luka and Kyrie over those two.
I'd take Shea over basically anybody.
Oh, yeah, me too.
But I don't know if I would take, factoring in J-Dub, I don't know if I would take J-Dub over, all due respect, of course, over Booker and Durant, just like fourth quarter. Because I know that they can do it. And, Dub turns it up in the fourth quarter pretty consistently, but at the same time,
yeah. No, let me clarify. I don't think Dub is I'm not saying I'd take Dub individually over either one of those guys, Booker or KD. But Shea is so good that
it kind of makes up for it.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Give me those two. Yeah.
We know who's shooting anyway.
Yeah, right. Just pass it to two. It'll be fine.
Hey, this is a good segue because we've already touched on Dub versus Booker to potential All-Stars. Y'all want to start talking about why you take your
I'm ready to
hold it for the segment.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Y'all, one of y'all lead it and to start.
Jace, can I start? Because I want to talk about my starters now that Anthony brought up the Devin Booker thing.
Yeah.
Devin Booker didn't even enter my consciousness at all I didn't even think about him at all.
Really?
Let me pull up the Brandon Rabar. He always tweets the the current voting.
The voting?
Yeah, so I'm going to try to pull up
here, let me explain my logic on the Booker thing. Because is Kevin Durant going to be an All-Star? Let me ask you that. Is Kevin Durant going to be an All-Star? Easy, right? 100% lock.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You cannot have two from the Suns.
I think that's
They're in
fair.
11th place. Yeah, so. It's KD, and that's it. That's it. That shouldn't even be a thought.
Wow, Booker's
Can't have
the
to.
9th highest voting guard in the West.
Yeah, that won't be good enough. He's not going to.
9th. That's pretty surprising. J-Dub has double the votes.
Yeah, I mean, the team
Maybe
sucks.
he is
like,
better.
You cannot have 2 All-Stars. And Kevin Durant's going to be an All-Star. Okay, so yeah, I'll start there. So let's start in the West. I'll start with my starters. I do have Kevin Durant as a starter. Let me just talk about I feel like the West starters are like pretty obvious. I guess we'll see if y'all agree. But I have Kevin Durant, Steph, Shea, LeBron, and Jokic starting in the West. And then again, the East is not quite as clear cut for me, I don't think, but I do think this is what it'll be. Giannis, Tatum, Cat, Donovan Mitchell, and then I have LaMelo Ball.
Wow.
Rounding out the starter. Yeah.
I like it.
Cool. Jace, I took it from you. Do you want to go ahead and go?
Yeah, I will start in the East, actually, because I have the exact same 5 starters in the East. I've got Giannis,
All right, sweet. That makes me feel
Tatum, Cat, Donovan Mitchell, and LaMelo. And I believe I only had one different starter in the West. Front court, I had Jokic, LeBron, and my different starter was Wemby.
okay.
And then for the guards, SGA and Steph, I think that's like a pretty safe bet at this point. But yeah, for Wemby, I just think like popularity and the two-way impact that he makes, like I think fan voting and coaches, whatever, he'll get enough love to get up to start his first ever.
I like that.
All-Star appearance.
I like that a lot. Yeah, I think that'd be like a good thing for the NBA. Like, just go ahead and start it now.
Yeah.
And he'll be an NBA or like an All-Star
Yeah.
starter for like the next 20 years
Yeah,
or whatever.
he's gonna
But
be
it's
there.
tough because
Yeah.
who you would have out is Kevin Durant. And I always thought Kevin
Right.
Durant, Steph,
Right.
and LeBron are locks every year in the West. They're done.
Yeah,
I still
Move
kind
on,
of
Wemby.
yeah, but I like the
I don't
thinking,
know.
Jace.
Because right now KD's got 2.4
Yeah.
million. Wemby's got 2.2 million in votes. Suns are slightly ahead in the standings. I don't know. But I think
Yeah.
it's safe.
I wouldn't think that would be like a crazy thing for KD to start over Wemby, especially for what you were just saying, like the Steph, LeBron, KD kind of thought process of like, yeah, you have to have those core guys in there still.
That's what I was thinking too. Is in a lot of ways, it's basically kind of just like a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love that, Jace. I think that'd be a really good thing, and certainly deserved for a player like that. Like, certainly deserved, and good for the league, and just cool all around. So that's cool. And do you want
No,
to
because I don't have them written down.
Ant-Man?
so I'm chiming in on based on y'all.
Oh, okay.
It would be very similar. I don't have any objections. I would have
Okay.
KD over Wemby just to start the game. Kevin Durant's played in so many that he probably won't want to play a lot anyway. He's already got an MVP.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Hey, so we all agree on Cat then?
Yeah.
Starting in the East?
I think
Nice.
that's like pretty safe. in my
I feel like it's
opinion.
like borderline lock.
Yeah. He's been
Nice. All
Very
right.
Yeah,
good.
because
Let's go
Cat's
Knicks.
he's
Yeah.
the number 3 vote getter. Cat is getting a lot of votes. Cat has more votes than
Yeah,
Shea.
which is crazy. It's the Knicks boost, man. I mean, in all due respect to Cat, he's had a great year.
yeah.
But I mean, that is surprising. that
I
he's
love
that
LaMelo
far
too.
ahead.
LaMelo starting. LaMelo, everyone just loves LaMelo. Like the younger generation, our generation, like
He's awesome, man.
his
Yeah,
brother's
kids
like
love him.
performing at
Yeah.
NFL playoff games now.
He's awesome.
Oh,
They need to have
yes.
him. He needs to be like the half.
Did y'all see he sang
the
at
All-Star game.
the
Yeah.
Lions game last night?
He has to.
But the crowd was like, "What's going on? Like, who is this guy?" It just said
Yeah.
I
Jello.
saw that.
Right?
Yeah. Who is this guy?
That is weird.
Yeah.
Because
Like,
the
why did
Lions,
they-
I think
Why did they do that?
the
Yeah, that
Lions
should
when
be-
they clinched the 1 seed, like someone in the background said, "Put on that Jello." But like he has no ties to Detroit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, I get that it's like a viral moment and stuff, but like NFL is like kind of like their main demographic is like older white guys.
Would have been better
you
to
know?
just
like
get
they're not going to know who
Eminem.
that is.
You know he was there at the game anyway. They lost regardless.
Yeah,
so
Eminem would have been fire.
nothing would have helped them.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't
bummer.
even matter.
I like
now.
the Lions. I like Detroit. Okay. Anywayser, I guess Jace, since it's kind of me and you spearheading this, should we do front court or back court? Because I do want to save the wild card kind of for last.
Let's go ahead and start with front court if that works for you.
Okay, yeah, let's do front court. Okay, so front court reserves, 2 of those, right, Jace?
I had 3 front court, 2 back court.
Oh, I did it the opposite way. Okay. Let's just leave it like that. I'll do 2 in the front court,
Yeah,
and you'll do 3,
that's fine
and
with
then
me.
we'll kind of have 1 extra,
Yeah.
like offsetting.
Cool.
Okay. So front court reserve again. I had 2. So my 2 from the East: Mobley and Paolo. And then in the West, I had J-Dub and Wembanyama. I think Mobley is a lock to make the All-Star game. I think Wembanyama is a lock to make the All-Star game. I'm pretty confident Dub is going to make it. And Paolo is the one I'm not really 100% sure about. It's because he's missed a lot of games.
Yeah.
He's pretty high up in the voting in the
Yep.
front court if you look at it. He's 4th right after Cat,
Yeah.
the last one that the NBA put out. Is that what you were seeing too, Ant, that he's 4th? Yeah, so him being ahead of guys, he's ahead of Mobley. He's ahead of Jimmy Butler. He's ahead of Embiid. So, I think that Embiid's not going to make it. Spoiler alert, I don't have him on mine.
Same.
Yeah, okay, cool. But yeah, I do think Paolo gets in. And, obviously the injury sucks and everything, but like the team is afloat. He's back. He's looked good. And, when he was out there at the beginning of the year, we were seeing like some big time play out of him. So I kind of think he's done enough. I'm not sure. But I kind of hope he does because I think it'd be cool. Because I don't think Franz is going to make it, but I think Orlando should have someone. And, Paolo is certainly that level of player. So the other ones I feel pretty confident about, but Paolo, I think he's going to sneak in there in the front court.
I like that. And I can go ahead and start there. Down in the East, again, I had 3 front court players. And so just because of the amount of games played, I agree with everything you said, but I did leave Paolo off of mine as, like a injury reserve. And so for my 3 front court in the East, I had Evan Mobley, Jaylen Brown, and drumroll, Jarrett Allen.
Oh, so the Cavs get 3.
Cavs get 3. Cavs get 3.
Oh, wow.
Spoiler alert, that's all they get. I'm not giving them the full 4. I have a DG missing. But
yeah, I spoiler alert again, but I don't have Darius Garland either.
Yeah. And see, I wanted...
Which is kind of a bummer. I wanted to put him too.
I wanted 3 Cavs, and it was kind of up in the air for me, like which way to go with that. But just kind of looking at like the positional breakdown, I went with Allen instead.
Yeah. I do think I do want to say on Allen, I think that's a good pick. And like if Paolo's not going to make it, it probably should be him, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sorry. That's all I wanted to say.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Jumping up to the West, I have Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, and kind of a weird one, Alperen Şengün. I felt like somebody from the Rockets needed a spot up there. I think he has the best case of anybody on that team, so I went ahead and slid him into the 3rd front court spot.
Solid. Who do you like not feel that great about out of those?
Probably Şengün.
Really?
Less
confident about him than Allen?
Oh, sorry. I was just thinking about in the West.
No, I just meant like out of those
the
players
front
you
court,
just listed. Like,
yeah, I would say like Allen getting bumped out for Paolo, even though he's just played 10, 11 games, something like that.
Yeah, that's what makes it tough. But I don't think that anybody's getting 3. I do think there's a couple of teams.
I agree. I think 3 is a lot.
I don't think anybody's getting
although
3.
they have 4 guys that are potential.
I don't know, man.
What do you think?
I think the fan vote hurts him. Jared Allen's 10th in front court voting. So Wagner, Embiid, and Jimmy B are all ahead of him in the votes. Dude. He won't even play.
If Jimmy Butler makes it, that's going to be insane. That'd be crazy. Oh, man.
I have... yeah, he sits out.
Yeah.
I've got kind of a little bit of a counterpoint for the Cavs getting 3. I don't think that they're like the same type of team as this, but in terms of like, winning by committee, that type of stuff, it reminds me of back, I don't remember what year it was, probably like 2012 Atlanta.
Yeah, I think it was 2013. I think I know what you're talking about.
And they had like all 5 of their starters like almost made it. I think that they did end up with 4.
They had 4.
Yeah.
That Hawks team.
And like, I think that this is kind of a similar play style. Obviously, I think Donovan Mitchell is still like pretty clearly the driving factor, but big picture, I think credit where credit's due. Give them 3. You don't have to go all the way with 4. Never mind. I was about to give another spoiler, but I'll save it.
Yeah, save it.
Okay.
Because I do want to say, Jace, I think that's a really good point. Like, I certainly agree that they win by committee. And that's how it feels like when you're playing them, especially like when it's your team and like you really want to beat them and you're not just like kind of taking it in. It's like you don't know what's gonna, what they're gonna do, especially on offense. Like you don't know who's gonna hurt you at any given time. Like they certainly do play like that. So
I was gonna say,
I wouldn't be shocked.
On your list, Rhett, like did
personally,
you have AD?
I wouldn't. I don't think so.
Yeah, that was
and anything else there before we move to the backcourt?
The AD, man. Yeah, when we're talking about
no. Lakers can't have 2. They're not good enough.
But at the end of the day, it is the Lakers.
I could be wrong. Yeah, no, it is the Lakers. But I'm just like, there's so much talent. Just when you go down the list, there's too much talent. He should not be. Anthony Davis should not be.
That's tough because
I know he had a great start to the year and everything.
The starter. Was it last year or the year before?
Like, I gotta believe that like the players and the coaches are going to do the right thing and put guys in there that deserve it.
Yeah. That's fair. I mean, like we said,
I don't think it was last year.
It's easier to squeeze more guys.
Like, it wasn't
the
long
Cavs
ago.
in the East.
It was at least
there's more wiggle room.
At most 2 years
trying
ago.
to fit multiple guys on a bad team in the West. Just because there's so many star power in the West.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My rationale on that is like, if you have 2 players on your team that right to this point, I understand the season's not over, but if you have 2 players on your team that to this point have been top 15 players in their conference, why is your team not better? That's the way I think about it. But again, I know that's not really the way it works. It's a popularity contest, really. But okay, well, we'll go to the backcourt. Jace, do you want me to start, or do you want to go through your backcourt reserves?
I can do my backcourt real quick.
Sweet, go for it.
You've got 3 of them, right?
I do have 3.
Okay, I just have 2. So starting in the West, my 2 backcourt coming off the bench, I have Anthony Edwards and Luka. Jumping down, I don't think there's a lot of justification I really need to give for those 2 guys. But the East, I think, is a little more interesting. The first one, Jalen Brunson, which, kind of whatever. But then I also have Cade Cunningham. I think he has been like pretty incredible this year. It's like a totally different Pistons team than we've seen in like a very long time. I would like personally be pretty upset if he didn't make it this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll stay in the East. So, like you said, Jace, I have 3 here, whereas you had 2. But in the East backcourt, I've got Brunson, I've got Dame, and then I've got Cade as well. I do think Cade should certainly make this. And I was kind of debating whether to like put him in my wild card or my backcourt reserve because I knew I was going to put him in, but I wanted to bump him up into that backcourt reserve because I think he should for sure make it. Like, and what I'm basically saying is like he should make it ahead of the 2 guys I have in my reserve. Like he deserves it. So yeah, I hope that he gets in there. And then very similar to you, Jason, the West, I've got Luka, I've got Anthony Edwards, and then I've got Harden, James Harden.
Yeah.
He's my lone all-star from the Clippers. I do think they get a player. And you know what's odd, y'all? I don't know if you noticed this, but if you look at the Western Conference, Norm Powell is 10th among guards.
I saw that earlier today when I was looking at the voting. I was like, whoa.
And he's had a pretty good year and everything, but I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
They're not getting 2. That's for sure. But yeah, Cade was the one that I was like pretty excited about. And so, Jace, do you have Jaylen Brown in your East?
I do, yeah. He was in my front court.
Okay, so in the East, we've got – that would mean for you, Jace, you've got 3 from the Cavs, 2 from the Knicks, and 2 from the Celtics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, so as we're going through this, here's the thing. There's just not as many good players in the East.
You mentioned Norm Powell. And
those guys all kind of deserve it.
If he was in the East,
that's why the East
get one of those spots.
Feels so top heavy to me because all those guys deserve it. They just so happen to all play on the same teams.
Sure.
So.
I
know we're not
done
this
with
year.
I'm telling you, if Norm was in the East and had his own team, he'd be a lock.
But I'll point out.
I know it's like coulda, shoulda, woulda, but
friend
for sure,
and high school teammate Trae Young, just because it seems like he gets snubbed every single year, and this. I think he was a reserve, or a substitute, alternate, yeah. But yeah, he doesn't. There's one year he started.
Last year, did he?
Then the next year he didn't get it, and
I don't think he did.
I mean, he averages 23 and 12.
Like an injury
his assists
substitute
have gone up every year, but his points are the lowest they've been since his rookie year. And you got Cade that's 24 and 9 per game. I'm with you guys. I'm not going to be biased and choose Trae over Cade. I like Cade.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you, Ant, before we get in there, is there anybody that we've talked about in the East that you would have Trae over?
Cade.
And I can reread my list real quick if you want.
Oh, Dame. But Dame's one of those guys that's just the veteran. Yeah.
Dame was my other reserve. People just know who he is. Yeah.
That's where the popularity contest could really come into play.
I kind of had trouble with this, y'all, because I was trying to make it what I really think it should be, but also kind of taking into account what we've talked about.
No, I think it's Cade's
aspect of it and
resurgence,
incorporate what I think
Pistons
it really will be
not being bad.
It wasn't easy,
people are excited. I
don't know.
They want to put Cade in,
but yeah, and
I think he's deserving.
You wouldn't have Trae over any of those guys in the East that I've talked about.
Let's keep the list going. Nice.
For the first time in a long time. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, let me start, Jace, with my wild cards because
Sure.
I do have Trey, Anthony. I do have Trey in the East, getting in there in the wild cards. And then the other one I have is Jaylen Brown from the Celtics, of course. And then West, Şengün, Jace, who you mentioned as a front court reserve. And then I've got Ja. Nobody talked about Ja. I know he's missed quite a lot of games, but not as many as like other guys that I've already talked about. So I was like going through it. I was like, I got to put Ja in there because, the team's been good. He's obviously the guy. And yeah, I feel pretty confident Ja, he's kind of been on his best behavior. So like, I think they're going to do him a solid and get him back in there. And because they want him to kind of be like a face of things,
Sure.
So I do think he'll be back.
Well, hey, going off of that, I did not have Ja in my West wild card,
So no Grizzlies?
but I did have Jaren Jackson Jr.
Okay.
as one of my wild cards. Then after that, I did also include De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, it was Fox and Ja were really close for me, Jace.
And so the two guys that I put these down just in case like they came up in conversation, but the two like biggest injury replacements that I have for the West are J-Dub and Devin Booker. Which I do think like either of those guys could make it, but they just didn't wind up on my list. And then for my East wild cards, the first name that I had was Damian Lillard. But this was what I wanted to talk about, how we were pointing out that I, in the East especially, I had like, it was basically just like 4 Eastern Conference teams with like different players picked out of those handful of teams.
Yeah.
And I was really, really close to going Trae Young and Jalen Johnson. But like, I think both those guys deserve to be all-stars. But like, you can't have 2 Hawks in there,
It would not.
So I was
what year is Jalen Johnson? 3rd year?
3rd or 4th, I think.
Okay, so he won't be eligible for the Rising Stars thing.
No, I don't think so. But I did end up going, which I don't know if this would even work how I did it now that I'm looking at it, but Trae.
It's all right. It doesn't matter.
I went with Trae Young and Dame. And so that would leave my first 2 injury reserve substitute, whatever, as Paolo and Jalen Johnson in the East.
Man, yeah. So you're like super high on Jalen Johnson.
I love
He's a guy I
Jalen Johnson.
really like. Yeah.
I think he's been like very, very good this year.
Well, I remember a while back I did like kind of a deep dive on the Hawks, and I was saying like I think he's one of the most valuable players in the league.
Yeah.
Put him on the bottom
he rocks
when
like
it's edited.
a ton.
Otherwise, it's just going to be.
Yeah, because I remember it was kind of like an eye-popping number that they just signed him to, but he's signed.
Yeah.
Which is like extremely valuable. So, yeah, sweet. Ball knower.
No, I would only say like just thinking of snubs.
Okay.
Like if at all, like no AD anywhere.
Well, that's kind of it. Anything else?
He's got to be in there.
Related? Because I mean, we went through our All-Star teams.
They're it's the Lakers. They're number
Anthony
6.
Davis is the one that I snubbed. I think.
I have AD, to be fair.
Yeah, Jace had ID. Dude, I mean, the team isn't good. The team is not good. I mean, I think he is the best player on that team. But LeBron's going to be an all-star. Like,
No Bronny mention.
maybe in the Rising Stars, Jace.
Whatever, dude. Maybe someday.
Spoiler West.
You know what we
Wes,
could do
if
to
you've
kind of
got-
wrap up is like
who we got?
we
Luka
can just kind of
and
imagine
Edwards
that it's
off
like
the bench.
East versus West and like
That's the
predict like
6 and
which of these
7
teams
man.
would win, and then we can maybe pick
yeah.
an MVP just for funds.
I like it.
West. I mean, they have 1, 2, 3, 4. They've got so in the West we've got 1, 2. I mean, like 3 of the top 4 players in the NBA will be on the Western team. Like Giannis is probably the only top 5 player on the Eastern Conference.
Well, you know what? I think that's going to give the Eastern Conference the drive to get the job done. Give me the East.
Yeah, there's an established pecking order, Jace.
Yeah. Give me the East.
Pass it to Giannis.
Riding with the East. Also, the chemistry
And
that
LaMelo.
they're already going to have just with like multiple players from every single team, basically, on my group. So they're going to be
LaMelo's going to shoot.
They're going to know each other, know what they need to do to get the job done.
I can't wait
to come out.
Yeah, there's only like 4 teams that are represented.
Yeah, to come out with a hard fought 187 to 173 win over the West.
Yeah, it's the Pacific Northeast and LaMelo. Oh my goodness, he's probably gonna do like y'all remember those NBA Street games that were like on PlayStation 2? You do like the elbow like shot, like bounce it and hit it with your elbow,
like hold it with your ankles and do like a handstand and like
flip it with your ankles. Throw it. Yeah, he's gonna be doing that. Okay, well, Jace, did you call your MVP? You said East is gonna win. Who's gonna be the MVP?
I'm taking East. I'm gonna say, shoot. There's the easy answer, but I was trying to think of a way to give it to somebody else, but I'm going to just say Giannis. He breaks his all-star scoring record again and scores like 70 points this time.
Good. He's capable.
Good
yeah.
Who knows what happens in this stuff, man?
No, it's always so weird.
Yeah.
Good question. He's scheduled to come back.
I think the West is going to win.
And All-Star third week of February.
I'm going to pick Anthony Edwards. Is Luka going to play in this game?
I don't know.
I guess that's kind of up in the air, right? Like nobody really knows.
Y'all had Kyrie, right?
He probably won't.
No one had Kyrie.
An open spot for J-Dub to slide in.
It's hard.
Yeah, I'm because like Luka, if he does play, I could see Luka like get real hot,
like Jalen Johnson that like have had good seasons, but like
if he wants to try.
I'm thinking of snubs like Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis.
No,
I did not have Kyrie.
It's
Dallas
hard
can't
for me
have
to imagine they
Dallas
didn't get
can't
in
have
somehow.
No Kyrie for me.
Like Thunder fans will be mad, but I don't know if anyone else will be.
Big names and
He's probably over 20.
Dude, if Kyrie makes it in, I'll be pretty mad. Like if Dub doesn't and Kyrie does. Probably not. You're probably right. And I think Kyrie's numbers are a little bit better too.
Dub's case, I think, is like not even based on the numbers, though. You know what I mean?
Well, I think we've got to us in Cleveland have to have 2. We have to have 2.
I agree.
Doesn't matter. And I think for Cleveland, for me, it's kind of easy. Like it's Mitchell and Mobley for me.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing for Oklahoma City. Your 2 best players. Put them in there. They have to be in there. Like they've been so far ahead of everybody else, they have to have 2.
You would think so. And if not, that should be just like, automatic MVP for SGA. If they're like, no, you don't have a second player good enough to be an all-star.
That's a good
I'm trying to think
that can kind of help.
I don't have any facts for that.
But
maybe
oh my goodness. I don't
viewers
understand.
Leave a comment if you know this answer. When was the last time there was a number 1 seed that only had one
All-Star?
All-Star?
It's such an easy decision to make who the MVP is. It's so apparent.
As of today, I think.
Dang, well, I guess history repeats itself. Then, I mean, But were we number one going into the All-Star break? Dang. Okay, besides OKC.
Last year?
Because I think when the Nuggets won,
Yeah, I forgot about that too.
Yeah.
Never?
I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, right. Well, that's the operative question. No, he's never been an All-Star.
All right.
It was
Leave
Jokic.
a comment anyway if you
Jokic
enjoyed the
did it
show.
too, because he's never played with.
Who is the best looking Splatcast member?
Current, was an
Leave a
All-Star on his team.
comment.
Like obviously Russ was an All-Star, but like he's never played with an All-Star that like,
Flu game,
they were
Jace.
same. You know what I mean? Y'all know what I'm saying.
Yeah, never mind.
Dang.
Boom! Yeah.
No, don't
My big
ask
brain.
that question. I got the flu. I look sickly.
Is it really flu, Jace?
I have not been tested or anything, but like I think so.
Eesh. Sorry to hear it. Did you get your flu shot?
No. I literally went yesterday to get it. But I just got like new insurance like over the summer, and it was the first time that I'd used it to like do a medical thing. And they're like, this isn't listed as your primary insurance, so you'll just need to call in and like get it changed. Or you can pay $75 to get your flu shot today.
What?
And so yeah, I was like,
That's crazy.
Okay,
Aren't
I'll
they
do
just
that.
like free? Like you can just like walk into Walgreens, right, and get them for
That's
free?
where it was. It was at Walgreens.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Man, that's a bummer.
gotta wait a couple days, I guess.
I just got mine last week. I was in for my physical, and they were like, "Do you want a flu shot?" I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I haven't been sick this winter yet, thankfully, but I don't want to get the flu.
I still
We've
need
turned
to
into
get
the
it.
Pat
But like, I
McAfee
don't know
show.
what
Are
if
you
I do
vaxxed or
have the
not?
flu, like what that's gonna
Well,
change.
I
in
think
terms
like
of
if you
time,
get the
so.
flu, it doesn't like it's kind of the same thing, right? As getting a flu shot.
I would assume so, because like flu shots. Maybe this isn't the place for this conversation, but I think it's.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers like said I smoked a bowl or whatever, and like my Achilles was magically healed.
Yeah. Been
Okay. Yeah, you're right, Ant.
yeah.
Okay. Well, quick episode today, guys. We're coming in under an hour, but that was fun. I'm looking forward to the All-Star game.
Adios.
Really, I'm looking forward to getting into the second half of the season when stuff starts really getting real.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. Cool. All right. Well, we will be back probably next week, but until then, take care. We'll see you soon.